Hello, hope everyone is well today. It's been a pretty warm, pleasant day here. We're desperately in some need of some rain in this part of the world, and I assume that's the case for a lot of people. There's a lot of dead grass knocking about, and my grass has grown about like that much in several weeks. So yeah, it's quite warm even here. Comes Kiko. You're right, good girl. How are you doing? Yeah, so I'll just wait a little while for everyone to arrive. I hope everyone is doing well. I have had a pretty busy time, but I've been able to take it a little bit slower than obviously just the time just before the release of the book was hard. It was hard work, and I've been able to take it a little bit slower. But I've not had a proper break yet. I was trying to record something today, and I nearly finished it. And if I finish that today, then I've recorded. Well, I've got to do an interview, but when I've done the interview, I will have done my content up until Sunday next week, which is good because I can have a few days off. I'm actually going out with Keeks and a friend tomorrow into the countryside. I was just trying to use my action camera. I can barely see the camera, never mind the screen. Like my eyes are. I can never remember how to use it. So hopefully I'll work out how to use it. And then I can show you some more footage in the future perhaps. Anyway, I'll start saying hello to some people. Hello to Heather. Hi to Hayley. Hi to John. Hi to William. Yes, we can discuss Botched a bit later, by all means. Hi to Tink. It's Christine. Hi to Mark. Yeah, I agree about Guy's video. I got to see it a little bit early as well. So yeah, it actually just made me angry, to be honest. I don't think I really enjoyed it, which is I was saying to him is strange because obviously I talk about this stuff all the time, and I've written or spoken about or both virtually everything in the video, and yet I just got so angry watching it. Particularly the bit at the start is just, they literally broke her. That's as close to being completely broken as you can get, isn't it? Really. So yeah, it was upsetting. Hi to oh, thank you, Heather. Your book is fantastic. Well done. Appreciate that. Hi to Margaret. Hi to Patrick. Hi to Bran. Hi to John. Hi to Zaina. Deborah, I should say. Hi to John. Hi Chris, I put this on my weekly schedule, then forgot, then you popped up on my screen. Well, I'm going to try and make this a regular thing. So hopefully from next week, I'm going to start doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and then live stream on Sunday evening, and try to do that every week and see how it goes for a bit. So I always wanted to have a regular schedule, and I've never managed to do it. And this is the best scheduling I can work out. Because I know I've kind of specialised in doing longer videos, but I thought it'd be nice to do one short video every week. The problem you always have with short videos, the problem I have is, I start looking, like I thought that CCRC video would be fairly short, but then I thought, but I always like to do a thorough job, and it doesn't turn out being short. So it's actually just thinking of a topic that you can do in 15, 20, 25 minutes at the most. But hopefully I'll manage to do that. We'll see how it goes. Glad to have you, Rachel, anyway. Hi to Vivian, hi to Crystal, hi to Meg. I'm 100 pages into your book, as again, excellent work. I've been speaking with colleagues at work about the case, at least anecdotally I'm hearing more chat in general. Well, that's good. It does, what I will say is this can be related to the book, it can be related to the BBC documentary, I don't know, but the figures on my channel have definitely gone up. And it feels like it's more mainstream all the time. And whenever I don't know if you've seen the comments for the Daily Telegraph article, but it must be 98% positive over nearly 4,000 comments with nearly 250,000 views now. So I do think that and there was an article in the Law Gazette, and it wasn't about Lucy's case. It was about something completely related, and that is a publication for solicitors, barristers, people in the legal profession. And they just said. Obviously, there are some serious problems with expert witnesses, as the Lucy Letby case demonstrates. So, I mean, that just shows you, like, it's already accepted. The case hasn't even gone to the Court of Appeal. It's already accepted. Well, the expert witnesses were a joke in this case. And I can't imagine that's ever happened before. I'd be surprised if it has. So I definitely think your anecdotal evidence or anecdotal experience is broadly representative. Hi to Shell, hi to Alicia, hi to Tracy, hi to Melistic Marble, hi to Julia Todd. Glad you could make it. Hi to Katie, hi to Yelda. Hi to Bell. Let's call you Bell Rose, even though you got TT before your name. Hi to Bell. Hello, I'm new here. I came across your YouTube channel. I've been totally fascinated. I bought your book and have watched so many of your videos. Well, thank you for the support. I really appreciate that. I was just saying to someone today, actually, it's really strange the way things work out, because I had no intention of doing YouTube whatsoever. And the way things are going, I'm going to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. I got 500 and approximately 570 to 580, I think it is, in the last 28 days. So that would be just over 600 a month. And I'm on 8,500 and something now. So there's a good chance I'll get to 10,000 this year, even if it slows down a bit. So that's, I never in a million years. It's really hard to get to 10,000 YouTube subscribers. Of all the channels that created, a very small percentage gets to 10,000. And they're usually much more light, on lighter topics, much less heavy topics than this. And, the channels that do well are typically people that have video editing skills and people that sometimes they have backing, or they're doing an organised YouTube project. I just posted something, it got a lot more views than I expected, so I thought, okay, maybe I should post something else, and that did okay, and then it just all built from there. So it's really strange the way things can work out, because I just thought I'd write a book and then, go back to being a ghostwriter, basically. I thought I'd be doing ghostwriting and my normal work up until the release, and then, I expected to be involved maybe a little bit more with Lucy's campaign, or if you want to call it that, but I didn't really anticipate being as known as I am, I suppose. And I certainly didn't anticipate being on video and stuff. But it's actually funny because I'm completely desensitized now to being filmed or hearing myself or seeing myself or anything like that. Like if a camera's there, I don't even notice it at all. So that's been an interesting part of the whole thing. But yeah, thank you for the support. Jackie, I've sent my family off to watch Spider-Man so I could be here. Is that a new Spider-Man film? I don't kind of follow the superhero films, but thank you for being here. Hi to Cool Crazy Cute. Hi to Barry. Hi to Alexis. Thank you for being here, and I really appreciate what you've done for me as well. Hi to Karen. Hi from Karen and Charlie. Hope Charlie is well. Keeks is right down here. She's actually lying on her bed for once. Usually she's like, this bed's not good enough for me. I belong on your bed. But actually today she's accepted that she needs to be on her bed, which is big of her. Hi to Rangecraft. Hi to Layla. I cried watching Botch, but it was brilliant. Yeah, it was. Guy's really talented, very talented. I knew it would be good. Over the 3 films as a whole, you could show him as a feature-length film, couldn't you? I'll have to have a word with him and suggest that. If he's finished making them, it would be really good to put something together that's feature-length that combines the 3 parts. I'll definitely suggest that to him. Hi to Stuart, good to have you here. Did you see that a medical trial had been going on from April 2015 involving twins that Jim McCormack was involved in? Yes. I'm aware of all these things. I haven't got into this too much because I feel like I'm not qualified to do it, firstly. Secondly, we don't know all the details. And thirdly, I couldn't include in my book because there's, something you've got to cut something. And if you start going into every single thing, it's just too much. But I'm aware, I've been aware of this for quite a while because people tell me about it. So yeah, it's interesting. Hi to Bernie, thanks for being here. Hi to Reflective. Hi to Zoe. Hi to Foxy. Hi to Andy. Hi to Jenny, hope you're well. Hi to House of Dragon. There seems to be 2 lives going on. Is there really? Let me just check my channel. Hold on. That's because I... Oh yeah, don't worry. That's just... Yeah, the other one is just... It's because I mistyped, so I typed in again, and then it still created this one. That one will never go live. So if I can't obviously tell people in the queue, but hopefully people will come away from that one. Let me see if I can delete it. This is where you see my limited YouTube skills. Like, I don't know how to do anything. Let me see if I can actually work out how to get rid of this. I don't know how to do it. So complicated, isn't it, these things? Yeah, maybe I'll do it later. I think I know how to do it. Hi to Elizabeth. Hi to Mumbland. It's really annoying that I can't work anything on the channel. Hi from David Swansea, recovering from Twitter abuse. Yeah, as you noticed, I don't get involved with any of that. I just post my videos and do an occasional post. I don't listen to any of them, but I understand why people do. He just found a bone, by the way. Hi to Kath. Hi Chris, been away on holiday with my family now. I'm looking forward to catching up. Yeah, nice to have you here. Really appreciate it. I'm going to have to try and schedule these in the future because I've just realised I can do something that I've not done. It's so complicated, isn't it? Using YouTube, it's confusing. Hi to Patricia. Hi to Heather. Your video on the CCR seems great. Do you think they'll make a decision by the end of this year? It's so frustrating how long it's taking while Paul Lucy sits in prison. I guess the best answer to that question is I hope that they make a decision by the end of this year. I can't see any. I can't see any reason why not. So I can't see any reason why they wouldn't make a decision by the end of the year. But I don't have any knowledge of whether they will or not. It looked like Vera Beard had been brought in to guarantee that happened, but obviously she's extended her tenure. But I think that I'm sure they will be trying to give a quick decision because they're certainly under pressure, as I mentioned today. But yeah, hopefully it'll be this year. Just gone to, yeah, I think people have realised now that it's okay. So hopefully they'll all come over to this one. Did you catch the news today about Dr. A? Yeah, I did see that. I kind of knew about that a while ago, again, because someone told me. Very unfortunate, of course. Obviously, I've not seen him or don't know anything about him really, but it's a shame what's happened, obviously. Hi to Claire. Hi, Chris and Kiko. Just back from holiday and overwhelmed with all the news. Yeah. There's always things happening in this case. Everything other than news from the legal system, of course. Hi all, whatever we may think, and we are here for Lucy, but sad to hear about the deaths of Dr. A and Oliver Rackham. Only found out today. Yeah, I didn't know about Oliver actually. But yeah, it's a shame. Hi Archie, I've been hanging around on the wrong channel. Something went wrong. Yeah, what happened is I typed the title in incorrectly, so I tried to stop that. So got rid of that live stream. Thought I deleted it, and for some reason it's still on my channel. There's only, according to the videos, there's only 4 people in there, which is a shame. But most people seem to have realised that this is the right one. So that there's not very much I can do about that. I'm sorry, there was a bit of a mix-up. It's just teething troubles. I learned something from doing that I didn't know, so next time I'll be able to do that. So you know, you learn a lot from. You guess you learn from your mistakes. Hello to Casey. Hope you're well. Sorry you're in the wrong life. Just one of those things. There's only I think 3 people now in the other one, so hopefully they'll realise. Yeah, 3 people are waiting now, so hopefully people will migrate over to this one eventually. You can post a link on Facebook. A lot of people have joined early, so that's really nice. But if someone could post a link on Facebook, then they'll get the right stream, and hopefully we'll get somewhere from that. Hi Sarah, glad to have you here. Nice that you're here on time, but I don't mind when people are late. I know people have got busy lives, so hello to So Hard, hope you're well. Hi to the Next Realm. Veronica May, I'm new to the chat tonight too. Hi everyone and hi Chris. I've watched many of your videos and I now have your book. I've also posted on my Facebook page, praying for Lucy to be free very, very soon. Thank you for the support, I really appreciate it. Can I just mention to people, now there's quite a few people here, there's still a lot of people reading the book. When you've read it, if you can review the book on online platforms, that would be very much appreciated. It all helps the reach of the book, but already it's pretty much definitely going to go down as the #1 Lucy Letby book. So that's, I suppose, one of the goals. So we've achieved that already, but we want to get more and more reviews, because there'll be peaks, things will happen, and it will bring people back to the book, and I'll probably get some publicity, and then that's going to keep happening with this book until it finally gets the right result that should happen of Lucy being exonerated. Go a bit further down. Hello Chris, hi Charles, hope you're well. Thank you for keeping this in the news every week, several times a week. I do hope to see a photo of you with Lucy Letby and Mal McDonald in the future. Well, yeah, I never know if I'll meet Lucy or not. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is for me to do my work to the best of my ability. I just hope that this terrible injustice can be righted. It's totally wrong what's happened, and it's indefensible. And I think more and more people are realising this now. With the standard of your content, I bet you'll reach 10k in no time. Well, I really appreciate that. It's pretty amazing to have 10,000, and the thing I'm really lucky about as well is that I've got such an active community. So there's loads of channels out there that have 10,000 subscribers and it doesn't mean anything because none of them watch the videos. What really makes the difference is I have 10,000 subscribers and people watch the videos. So that's really a great combination. I did a lot of analytical study of the channel recently, and everything's going really well according to the information that I've received. I mean, it's really hard to build something in this period of time, and I never thought I would. So I'll never be able to truly express my gratitude, but I am really grateful for the support. It does mean a lot, and all I can say is I give everything to try and repay that support. One thing I can tell you is that this week I discussed having some public events with my publisher. We're in the very early stages of this, and you shouldn't expect it to be this month, and you shouldn't probably expect it to be next month. It's going to take us a little while to organise it, but what will probably happen is we'll probably put a page on the website, and then anyone who's interested in potentially attending can sign on the website and just, it'll just be like, do you remember the updates for the book in the early days? It'd just be sign here if you're interested in attending an event. Maybe it might ask for your location so we can work out where to hold them. But I think, broadly speaking, the location's pretty obvious anyway, all the locations. And we just need to try and work out, can we hold several events? How many people are going to come? What size venue? And so on. And we'll probably have to charge a nominal entry fee, because when 19 Nurses hold their events, they get free venues. They're very fortunate to get free university rooms, for example. I won't get a free room, so I'll need to pay for that, and I'm not rich, as you may have guessed. Not many writers are. Everyone talks about J.K. Rowling and Stephen King all the time, but apart from them, there's not many rich writers. There's a few, but I'm not one of them. Hi Chris, hi Karen. Guy's botched video yesterday made me incredulous. I listened sitting on my balcony in Spain, muttering expletives like a lunatic. Yeah, it made me angry as well. I think that'd be a very natural reaction for anyone, anyone with a conscience who's capable of being objective. It's awful what's happened. The good news is Lucy has recovered from the terrible state she was in at the start of that video. Now, we don't know exactly what state she's in. We don't know her state of mind. We don't know her psychology. We don't know the long-term effects. We don't know to what extent she'll be able to recover in the future. But she's coping and she's adapting and she's acclimatizing. So that's all exciting. I mean, no, exciting's the wrong word. That's all good. Encouraging was the word I meant, I think. That's all encouraging. But it's certainly, that video was very sad. I agree. But I mean, my sadness wasn't really my reaction. I was just angry. It's disgusting. Hi Simone, hope you're well. Hi to Zoe, hope you're doing well. I've been reading Dame Sue Black's book, An Expert Witness. She mentions Lucy Letby case in chapter 13. It's an interesting read and really shows just how inadequate DE was in court. Yeah, I'd like to try and get in contact with her. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know what she'd have to say, and I need to read her book as well. But I would like to get in contact with her. Whether she'd come on the channel, I don't think she necessarily would, but I'd like to speak with her. I should mention as well, I have contributed to another forthcoming book, and Stephanie Davis has as well. I hope she won't mind me saying, I don't think she will. And I'll give you the details of that when it's published. And I'll explain more about my contribution nearer the time. Obviously, I haven't written the whole book, and it is just one chapter, but it may be something that you're interested in looking at a later date. Let's go a bit further down. Hi Chris, I was waiting on the other live. It still shows waiting. Many others were too. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a cock up. It's what's known as a cock up. Oh, there's still 2 people waiting on it. I need to find a way to delete this. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can try to delete this. Just bear with me. I've got to be so careful not to delete this one. Right, I've deleted the other one, so hopefully they won't be able to wait anymore, and they might get the idea of going back to the home page. But I did learn something important, because I never schedule these live streams, so in future I must remember to schedule them, because then they'll pop up. I never realised that. Other people do it. I should do it. What, you know? So anyway, you live and learn, don't you? When I first did the live streams, they went completely wrong. I got loads of flags and loads of problems and loads of warning messages all over my channel. So I had to work out why that was the case. So yeah, I learned something this evening anyway. But there's a problem. I've mentioned this before. When you do YouTube, because now I've got a fairly big channel, or certainly it's a decent sized medium channel, isn't it? Like to get to the kind of views and the kind of watch hours I get and the subscribers I've got is not easy. Because I get to that level, firstly people think I know what I'm doing. Obviously I've learned and I'm getting better, but also people think you can speak to someone at YouTube. Trust me, you can't. You can't speak to anyone at YouTube. I might get to speak to AI if I'm lucky. That's the best I'm going to get. You know, Mr. Beast can, you know, he'll have a red telephone that takes him straight to the CEO or something. But for me, you know, I can go onto the help page and it will give me a bot. If I was smaller than that, I might not even get that. But I can't speak to a person yet. One day, who knows? I may be able to speak to a person. But at the moment, I'm nowhere near that level. Hi Chris, do you believe that in the Hummingbird video, Paul Hughes already has doubts when he says, historical in cases like this we have gone the wrong way, then clarifies please nationally? No, I don't. I think at the time they recorded that video, he believed 100% that Lucy Letby was guilty, and he believes they'd done a good investigation. Difficult though that may be to believe. Go back and look at the footage of Nicola Evans outside the court. She's crying because she thinks these babies have been deliberately harmed. I think they absolutely believed that what they'd done was right, and that it was a safe conviction. Not even a safe conviction. I think they just believed she was guilty, and like they'd done the right thing morally and ethically. They just made multiple errors. Now their behaviour, I think, at times since has not been in good faith, but I think everything they did in the investigation was in good faith, and I did write that in my book, and I absolutely believe that. So no, they made that film because they thought, we've done a great investigation, everyone's going to pat us on the back and everyone's going to tell us how wonderful we are. And that's absolutely what they believe. Right, I've successfully deleted that stream, so hopefully everyone will turn up here now. But we've still got 220 people, which is one of the biggest numbers I've had, I think. So thanks for everyone for being here. Even though I made a complete cock up of the video, but next week, now I know how to do it, I'll schedule this for 8 PM. I can even do that this evening if I wanted to. So you'll see the video in the live tab for next week, and you'll be able to see it, and it will work a lot better for that reason. So I learned something. So you're going to be this noisy, Kiko? Are you going to be this noisy? Are you? Yes, I am. She's being very noisy. It might not be that noisy for you, but for me, it's quite noisy. Can we request a second live, please? One camera on Kiko. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know if I have the technical ability to do that. The Estonia revelation is astounding. Still can't get my head around it. Yeah, I didn't know that myself. Obviously, I knew they'd reenacted things, and I knew Johnson played the role of her, basically. I didn't know Daniel Estonia was doing Lucy's bits. Yeah, it boggles the mind, doesn't it? I'm going to do a video on that in the future, no doubt. No doubt. Hi Chris, bought your audiobook on Spotify after reading your post. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Graham. Really appreciate that. So yeah, if you search for the audiobook on Spotify, it's available in the UK, available in the US, probably available in other locations as well. Were you aware of all the counter-Chester trips to Uganda? Yes. Well, I wasn't, but I am aware of them now. Thanks to yourself. Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on. There's some weird stuff going on with that hospital. The guard was down, to say the least. I mean, you could argue that. I'm sure people would argue that they had their suspicions, whether these were legitimate or not. And they'd had deaths on the unit, and they were concerned, and they were having conversations. And then they've got these very vulnerable triplets on the unit that shouldn't be there. And then, I mean, you could say, well, they need to, surely at that point they had to be proactive and say, look, we need to be taking lower risk babies. But they didn't. And infants died because of that, basically. Hi Carl, hope you're well. Hope everything's going good in your world. Nice to have you here. Common sense that literally has no meaning in law. Quote the day from our favourite troll Doris. Yes, don't we all know it? Hi to Christopher Hawk. Nice to have you here. Hi Chris, good evening. Last couple of videos, brilliant, excellent. Still following, still listening. Fantastic success with the book. Taking the audio version on my third holiday. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here, and appreciate the support. Hi Chris, the audiobook is really great. Particularly struck by the paragraph about 6 nurses in prison out of 35 serial killers. Yeah, I'm glad people have enjoyed the audiobook, because I'm very confident about my ability as a writer, but I'm not a narrator, and it was bloody hard work. It was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And someone actually put on Facebook the other day, your voice was a bit croaky for chapter 19, and I said that's because I was knackered. But then I started thinking about it a bit more, and I realised I think I read the last 2 chapters and the summary out on the final day. I wanted to do as much as I could so there was no pressure for the final day. So I did like 100 pages a day for the first 4 days. And I think chapter 19 would have been the last chapter I did on the 4th day in a row where I'd done 100 pages. That's why I was croaky. So we did my best. I learned after a while what you need is, so I'd have like bananas, a can of Coke, and then 2 blueberry muffins. Not like in Casino where Rob De Niro gets angry because they haven't got blueberries in. And then I'd sip my Coke, nibble at my bananas and nibble at my cupcakes all day, and just try to make them last all day. And that just kept a steady influx of energy, but I didn't crash too much either. But it is hard because my voice does go croaky. Oh, by the way, there's a podcast coming out next week that I've recorded. So that's with mainstream media. You'll find out who when it is released. I don't think I should say before then. It's in 2 parts. I think it'll be coming out on Tuesday and Thursday. It was supposed to come out this Tuesday and Thursday, but then something else displaced it. Breaking news. But it will be coming out next week, I'm assured. So I've already recorded that. It lasts for nearly an hour. So that'll be interesting for you to listen to, hopefully. And I'll reflect on that next Sunday and tell you more about it, the process of recording it, and my thoughts on it when I've finished. Hi Anna, hope you're well. Hope things are good over in Australia. Hi to Lynn, hi to Jilly, hope you're all well. I'm miles behind the chat as usual, but I'll try and catch up later. Hi Chris, just finished your book. I feel you may have accomplished what you set out to do, help Lucy in a similar way that Chris Mullin did with the Birmingham Six in his book Hour of Judgment. Well, thank you. He was an inspiration for me, so I just did the best I could. I mean, it's the best. I tried my hardest on it. It is the best I possibly could do. With that being said, we'll probably do an updated version in the future. I've already got loads of stuff. I've got stuff like that that's happened since it went to the printer, and of course, at some point, it will be referred. I believe that's inevitable. So at that point, we would probably look to do an updated version of the book. We won't do an updated audiobook because that's bloody impossible. But there'll be an updated printed book and there'll be an updated Kindle at that time. Obviously, we don't know when that's going to be. Hi to Operation Merlin Falcon. Thanks for your work. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the comments on my book. I really appreciate that. Andy B, I'm on chapter 9 of the excellent audiobook. I'm glad people are enjoying the audiobook. As I say, that does, it means a lot that people like the printed book, but the audiobook was a slog to do. It was hard. It was hard work. So the more people that enjoy that, the better it is for me, because I think, well, at least that effort wasn't wasted. In fact, one of the videos I did this week, I scripted, and so I started to read it back as like a scripted video rather than some of them where you probably can tell I'm speaking more spontaneously. And I started to get flashbacks to recording the audiobook. Like, I thought, how did I actually get through that? Because it was, I think the thing that got me through was the producer was brilliant, and obviously I had the knowledge to get through it as well, but it was really difficult. Hi Chris, do you think the police and CPS denying access notes to defence is highly significant? It does seem to be a failure of disclosure, doesn't it? It's very, very difficult for me to. It's difficult for me to say whether it would meet a failure of disclosure or not, but it certainly seems to be one. In any kind of rational world, it's very significant. It's just that the legal profession, it's not. It's the courts are not, and particularly the Court of Appeal, is like a court of process, isn't it? It's a court of procedure, not a court of justice or rational argument. So how significant it'll turn out to be, I don't know, but it should be significant in my estimation. I've always thought Lucy was innocent. It's terrible something can happen like this in this day and age. Free her now. Agreed. We've all learnt a lot through your channel. Bashing trolls can be fun, for instance. It can be, yeah, it can be. Hi Chris, realised the scheduled video wasn't going to go live when you were seated at 8 and I couldn't hear Kiko with a bone. Yeah. So that was a mistake, but next week is going to, that served its purpose, that mistake, and next week things will run like clockwork. Hi Chris and Kiko, one day I'll be on time for your live streams. Don't worry Claire, we're happy to have you here. Hope you're both good and rested. Really enjoyed your video today, so informative. Thank you. I'm glad people, one of the hardest things to do is picking new topics. And then I just thought, oh yeah, that would be a really logical thing to do. So yeah, it worked out quite well. And then when I started to do it, I thought, oh well, I should do a thorough investigation of the whole thing and explanation of the whole thing. So that's what I tried to do. Hi to Martin, good to have you here. So yeah, so about 8% of YouTube users have over 10k subscribers. So I'm sure in reality though it's smaller than that, because you see these percentages sometimes, but it's incredibly difficult to get. Because I see people who've posted on YouTube for ages and have not even got 1,000. You sometimes like a few hundred. And I've been reading Reddit pages about it, trying to understand it a bit, and there's so many people saying no one watches my videos, no one subscribes, and I'm like, well, and I always think, well, it's really hard. I was lucky that I did a video that got a bit of traction, and it's a subject that people really care about, and then I managed to keep it going, and people gravitated towards me for whatever reason. But yeah, I think to have 10,000 subscribers and be active is pretty tricky. But yeah, I won't stop there. I'll just keep going. Hi to Claudia, who's in Italy. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I know you meant Kiko, don't worry. That was just a typo, it's not a problem. When the structure of the county Chester changed under new management, it appears that the obstetrics became more distant from the paediatric and neonatal units. Yeah, I think there is a general distance, but it is in my book from someone who worked in the hospital that there was never a close relationship. So I don't know how much it got worse, but according to what I've been told, it was never a close relationship. You deserve a lot more than 10k subs. The things I see with 1 million plus views, yeah, I know, but YouTube, you have to understand, is about appealing to children as well. Now, my channel gets an extremely trivial number of views from people under the age of 18, even though I've designed it so you could watch it with your kids. And I tried. The only time anyone has swore was John Sweeney. I thought, you know what, I appreciate him doing this, so it's not a problem. But I've never, I don't swear, and I won't allow myself to swear. I may do if you meet me face to face. So that's a rule for myself. But yeah, it's something like 0.5% or not. So under 1% of viewers are under the age of 25, I think, or certainly 18. Maybe it's a bit higher now for 18 to 24 because more people are going into it. But yeah, for the big YouTube channels, they're for younger people. So to get to a high subscriber count, that's how you do it typically. Obviously, what I do is not really geared towards that, and even when Lucy is exonerated, and hopefully I'll pivot a little bit, I still won't be aiming my work at children. Obviously, it'll still be like kind of mature documentaries on various topics, I would think, or podcasts, how you want to describe it. So yeah, I mean, I'm more than grateful to have 8,500 it is now, and if it goes beyond that, that's great. Hoping your book comes this week before I go away. If she isn't freed, it's a massive miscarriage of justice. Yeah, sorry, Claire. You should receive it soon. Again, people haven't read it yet. If you can review it when you receive it, that would be great. I watched your deep dive into the CCRC in Thirlwall today. Stonking piece of work. Many thanks and congratulations. Not sure if you've noticed, but there was a PowerPoint background shot that... Yeah, I know. Don't worry about that. I couldn't be bothered to edit it out. It's not a big problem. Chris, I for one am very grateful that you're highlighting Lucy. I've watched many hours of 19 Nurses, your content, interviews and commentary. Yeah, thank you for that, Jennifer. I'm really appreciative of the support. But by the way, like if you ever spot any mistakes in the videos, other than with arguments, like editing mistakes, or I've probably spotted them and not been able to edit them out, or I just do the best I can with editing. I'm not that good at it, so I just do the best I can, which is not up to a professional standard, but it's the best I can do. So yes, so thanks again, Jennifer. I really appreciate your support. Poor Lucy, I can't even begin to wonder how she feels each evening when she goes to sleep, it's tragic. God bless her. Yeah, I mean, it must be very, very difficult. Can you have another crack at getting Jonathan Sumption on? He carries a lot of weight. I do have a bit of an in with Jonathan Sumption now, but I can't promise anything. But if I'm going to pursue that, I am pursuing it. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe. Hi Chris, I'm in the process of emailing Lady Helena Kennedy in the laws just to flag Lucy's case. She defended the Guildford 4. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully we can get through to her. That would be great. I was screaming at DE just repeating babies collapse and die. Well, it is appalling. It is appalling. What he did in that case is disgusting. Disgusting. I don't have any qualms about saying that. His cross-examination was insulting to the court, in my view. Lucy must have some inner strength. I'm not sure I could ever regain my sanity. Yeah, I think you just. It depends on the individual, but you've got to, haven't you? You've got to. You've just got to. You know, I don't know if people have played The Last of Us. I've probably mentioned this before, but right at the end, you know, if you don't know, it's a dystopian video game. They're in a horrible situation. Lots of horrible shit goes down, and right at the end of that, the main character says he's been looking after this girl. This girl's saying everyone's died apart from you, and he's like, "Yeah, my daughter died. This happened. This happened." But you just find something to fight for. That's what he says. And I guess Lucy's not in a fighting position, but you find something to survive for. You just got to find little things, and you just got to find. Like for me, if I was in her situation, I would be thinking, right, I'm going to play GTA San Andreas again and finish it 100%. Because I never did that when I played it the first time. And I think they get PlayStation 2. Maybe they get PlayStation 3 now, I don't know. But and I'd be thinking, I'm going to get Gran Turismo, one of the Gran Turismos, maybe A-Spec, and just finish that 100%. And that'd be my life. And I'd write, and I'd do some writing as well. And to be honest, I'd probably be quite happy. There would be no, I mean, if I didn't have to mix with people, I'd probably be quite happy, really. If I had to mix with the prison population, I don't think that would go very well. I can't, I mean, it's not something I would choose to do anyway. But not in a category A, not especially not a men's category A. But who knows how she is? Hopefully she's adjusting anyway. Yeah. Also, Dewey's saying I nailed it. I know it's terrible. The guy is just. Well, I can't say anything that I haven't said already, but there'll be some more stuff coming up on him in the future. I don't think we'll ever reach the end of our content on him. Oh yeah, someone's mentioned Isabel Hardman's book Fighting for Life about the history of the NHS. Let me just put the light on because it's a little bit dark now. You alright there, Keeks? You okay? I've got to do recording still. You come here. Good girl. There she is. I sobbed at the last bit of botch when it relayed Lucy's last spoken words in public. Yeah, I mean, that was a very dignified thing to do, wasn't it? I do believe that she's shown a great deal of dignity throughout the process. I thought it was interesting. It was in Botch, wasn't it, where she was asked about using the word bastards, and she said it's just not the kind of language I would usually use. And there is no swearing from her, you know. I know I don't swear on this channel, but I think in those circumstances I probably would swear quite a lot, and I'd be so angry. And yeah, it's just sad, isn't it? It's sad that whatever happens, there can't be a winner in this case, can there? I mean, she's still been through an awful experience. We don't know how she's going to be in the future. The infant's still died. A lot of money's been wasted. She can't be a nurse again. There's 10 years taken out of her life. It's just awful. You know, what can you do? What can you do? All we can do is do the best for her and learn the lessons of what has occurred. Yeah, so I know there was an error. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It's just a slight error in the video. Sometimes editing loads of stuff out. Like, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to editing. As long as have you ever heard in the psychology there's this theory of good enough mothering or good enough parenting? You should look that up if you haven't heard of it. It's quite interesting. I think, what's the woman's name? It's something like Caldecott. Anyway, my view of editing is it's good enough editing. It's not perfect editing. It's never going to be perfect. I just try and do it reasonably well. I don't think we would have an event in Chester. Simple reason being, the hospital's there. There's a lot of strong feeling. I can understand why you would say that, but it probably wouldn't be in Chester. Manchester in the northwest will be more likely, but we haven't decided anything yet. We haven't even discussed anything yet. We're literally just going to set up the page on the website, and then people can, sign up if they wish. On your excellent video about the CCRC, oh yeah, sorry, I read that already. Planning to gift a copy of Reasonable Doubt to Lady Helena Kennedy in the Lord she defended the Guildford for. Yeah, so hopefully we can get her involved. Let's go a bit further down. What's the Stonia news? I've been on holiday. So it's in the film Botched. So Daniel Stonia, as we know, interviewed Lucy Letby. As we also know, this was reenacted in court. And during the reenactments, Nick Johnson played Lucy's parts and that's wrong. Nick Johnson played Daniel Stonia's parts and Daniel Stonia played Lucy's parts. Taking medical documents home and saying, you said your goodbyes, do you want to put the baby in this box to parent, having an affair with a married doctor, can we at least agree she isn't an angel? So let's just go through those things one by one. So in terms of medical documents, I've answered that millions of times. If you actually look at the number of shifts that she did, which was approximately 1,200 to 1,300, she only took notes home maybe one every 5 days. Now, if you think that she said, and lots of nurses explained to me, the note is in my pocket, so I just left it there by mistake. So I've taken stuff home. It's perfectly feasible that someone could take something home, 15, 20% of their time. And that's all that happened. That's before we go into the fact they're not medical documents, as I've explained countless times, and also they're completely unrelated to the indictment. They're nothing to do with the medical situation. Child C still died due to a bowel obstruction and other issues. Child D still died due to pneumonia and other issues. Child E still died due to a gastrointestinal hemorrhage. Whether or not Lucy Letby has got a handover sheet in her house or not is irrelevant, completely irrelevant. In terms of this, do you want to put this baby in this box? That is a kind of misrepresentation of what was actually said. Lucy was just doing perfectly normal things on the unit, and that was kind of I mean, I think you even misinterpreted it there, to be fair. In terms of having an affair with a married doctor, there's absolutely no evidence to support that, and even the prosecution didn't suggest that. They tried to put this in as some sort of motive because they had no motive and they had to try and convince the jury. But there's absolutely no evidence that Lucy was having an affair with him because they couldn't produce even one text message that met the level of flirtation. So there's no evidence to support that. She could have been having an affair, but there's no evidence to indicate that. In terms of whether or not she's an angel, I never have said she's an angel. I don't know her personally. I realised scheduled chat wasn't... Oh yeah, sorry about that. Let's go a bit further down. I just saw the news... Oh yeah, we've discussed that already. Hi from France, Chris. Thanks for this evening. Any comments on the news about... Yeah, all I can really say about the guy passing away is that it's sad. Obviously, I don't know him, so it's just like anyone passing away to me. It's not a personal thing for me. But yeah, condolences to family. It's a shame when anyone dies at a young age. It's regrettable. Hi to Matt. So I really enjoyed the audiobook, Chris. You've done a great job. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that. Again, if people are listening to the audiobook, not reading it, that wouldn't make any sense. If you're listening to the audiobook, if you can leave reviews on Audible, if you've purchased it on Audible, or if you're going to purchase it on Spotify, or you have purchased it on Spotify, if you can leave reviews on Spotify, that all helps. Thank you very much. I find it amazing that people continue to think Lucy was in the wrong having a friendship. Yeah, I think it's very unfair. So with regard to this blood coming out the mouth, I've already dealt with that. By the way, I'm not going to answer questions from someone who believes Lucy's guilty that I've already answered countless times, both in video and in the book. It's your job to educate yourself about what has actually happened. It's not true that there was blood coming out the mouth of the infant. I've dealt with this in great depth. It's not true that the baby was screaming either, and it's not true. And this why she's always standing there doing nothing at collapse. That's been dealt with ad infinitum. I mean, really, there's very little else that we can say about that at this point. But you need to educate yourself, and you need to familiarise yourself with the facts about the case, and you need to know a lot more about nursing than you do now. And I'm really not going to sit here answering. I've answered the question about the handover sheets. I'm not going to answer any more stupid questions that come from a place of ignorance, because I've answered them countless times on the channel. And if you don't know by now, with everything that's out there, if you don't know the answers to your own questions, there's sod all point in me telling you. And I'm not usually that harsh on people, but I mean, really, if you don't know by now, if by now you're saying, why is she always standing there doing nothing at a collapse, and you don't know why that's a, let's be generous, uninformed statement, I could put it harsher than that, you know, you don't really deserve an answer, is all I can say. I could listen to you all day, bought the audiobook as well as the hard copy, love listening to it at home. Thank you, Julie, I really appreciate that, that's very kind. Hi Chris, hope all going well. I watched Stuart Gillen, Roy Meadows, Dowie and J-Ram and their odd interpretations of Munchausen by proxy. I do wonder if they all knew each other. I'm a cynic. Yeah, hopefully soon we're going to have an expert on to discuss Munchausen's. We'll see. Sooner or later we will. It's just a case of arranging it. The latest botch was the best of the three, I thought. First two were very good, but I feel this was a level up in quality, had more je ne sais quoi. Yeah, I really like the second one as well, but I certainly thought it was excellent. Chris, you must have newfound admiration for those actors who do audiobooks for epics by George Eliot or Dickens. Yes, I do. I absolutely do, because it's really hard. Like, it is what I will say is they may be given a much longer time frame to do it in. We obviously didn't want to spend an absolute fortune on recording the audiobook. It's still, I mean, I don't know what we spent. I'm not privy to that, but it's not cheap to record one. And with an actor, it would be even more expensive. So we were committed to doing the best one that we possibly could, but I came in at the right price. Let's just say that. But I do have a newfound admiration for them, because it is hard. What I will say is that George Eliot or Dickens would be a piece of piss compared to reading this out. There's no Pseudomonas or Stenotrophomonas or anything like that in Dickens. I know Dickens very well. So I'd love to do a Dickens, but I wouldn't do it as well as some of these actors who are exceptional. Did you do the 100 pages a day with a broken leg and raise millions for charity? No, I don't make untrue claims about anything I've done. So that gentleman, you know, he's embarrassed himself, hasn't he? Lord only knows what's in his autobiography that's supposed to come out, his memoir. I think they're going to have to pull that somehow. Stoney and Johnson mocking the interview, talk about a kangaroo court. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason not to show the video, is there? It's quite ridiculous. So someone's saying, remember to like the video, everyone. So if everyone could do that, that would be very much appreciated. I left a video of the book today, the first on that platform. Hope you like it. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. Haven't had time to read it yet, but I definitely will check it out soon. Did someone comment today, Lord Sumption was sounding less hopeful, re-CCRC, etc. I don't see how they can ignore all that's emerged, thanks to Chris and others. I don't know if he's made any further comment. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I don't know. It is pretty disgusting about what happened with the reenactment. I agree. Yeah, I agree the defence should disclose. Whether they will or not, I don't know. Hi to Apollo, nice to have you here. I'm sure Stoney doing the role isn't a new revelation, but I can't remember where I first heard it. Well, I hadn't heard it before, so I don't know if it was entirely new, but it was certainly interesting. I just listened to an Aussie podcast with a forensic pathologist who worked on both Sally Clark and Kathleen Folby cases. His name is Professor Roger Baird. Would be a brilliant guest to interview. That's a good suggestion, Anna. Let me email that to myself. Roger Bayard, is it? Yeah, okay, so I'll email this to myself, and then hopefully I'll be able to get hold of him. So I'm very interested in those cases, as you know. can't spell, well, I can't type. There we go. There we go. Right, so I'll try that. Is there an actual reason for it? Does anyone know? Why couldn't they just play the recording? Well, we can only speculate about that, Merv, but I think that we can probably guess why. They wanted it to have a resonance for their case that the recordings wouldn't have had. The recordings would have made Lucy look sympathetic, whereas I'm sure their role play didn't. The question would be, why did the court allow this when recordings were clearly available? I don't see any justification for that, frankly. Hi Chris, hi David, hope you're well. Following my comment this morning in response to your email regarding the CCRC, what are the prospects of genuine justice being gained without the Supreme Court or Parliament looking at it? I mean, my answer to that question, David, is I don't know. I don't know what the Court of Appeal will do. I am going to be looking at the Court of Appeal process in a future video, probably come out next week. But what I cannot do is sit here and predict what will happen because I don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know. There's no way of knowing. All I can say is I'll be there to cover the Court of Appeal when it happens. I think I'll be able to cover it on this channel every day as far as I understand it. And when it's over, whatever happens, if I still have to be here doing stuff for Lucy, then I will. And if I stood for justice, then I will. I don't want to think about that too much. I just want to concentrate on what I'm doing now. But whatever happens, I'll do the best that I can. I just hope there's going to be more stuff that comes out. Remember that, and I just hope the public pressure, the media pressure, the basic understanding, the evidence, the experts, the fresh evidence. I hope it's enough. I hope it's enough for the court. It certainly should be. For them to sit there and say you could have said this a few years ago, or make some jurisprudence argument, and rule all of this out, I think would be scandalous, utterly scandalous. Just posted a review of the audiobook today, Chris, and put a wee side note with your YouTube channel, Marie. Thank you, Marie. I so much appreciate that. We really should talk about some hard evidence points, claims of insulin tamper-proof feed bags, disclosure of obstetric notes. So with regard to the insulin in tamper-proof feed bags, I'm going to go over that in the future. I just need a bit of time to gather all the information together, but I do want to be able to cover that. Firstly, the disclosure of obstetric notes, all I can say is I can't see any conceivable reason why they shouldn't be disclosed, but the law is an ass, to use a certain expression that's rather well known, and we cannot rule out the possibility that they won't be disclosed. That's possible. Certainly the police will fight it and the prosecution will fight it, but they should absolutely 100% will be disclosed, and they absolutely 100% should have been disclosed at the time. I mean, this whole thing, you know, I never forget about the human element of it, but sometimes I just think about it from the societal, organisational, establishment point of view of I don't want to live in a country where stuff like this happens, and then all of the systems that created it, all the systems that are to blame, just try and close ranks because none of them have got the courage to own up, and they all just want to pretend everything's okay. You know, it's it cuts much deeper for me than just Lucy's going through a terrible time and she needs to come out of prison. Of course, that's true, but it was not really about that for me. It's about the fact that there's been a massive injustice, and I feel I have to do the right thing, and I'm in a position where I can do something, so I have. And it's really about the wider consequence of that. And as I wrote in the book, and as people often repeat back to me now, this can happen to anyone. It could be any one of us sat there in prison now for something we haven't done. I believe there probably is 10,000 innocent people in prison. It could be more than 10,000, but that 2,000 estimate, from what I've seen of the process and what I know about the court system now, the arguments I've seen made in this court case, the evidence, the expert witnesses that I've seen, if there's 2,000, I'll eat my hat, and I've got no intention of eating my hat. it's got to be 10,000 or close to that, because look at the court system. Never mind the police. So for me, it's about that first and foremost. But of course, we all feel for this person, this blameless person who appears to be, although I don't know her personally, a very good human being, who is undoubtedly, undeniably a dedicated nurse, and has been made to suffer through no fault of her own. That's terrible. The whole thing is just awful. And if they fight the disclosure of the obstetric note, all I can say is, and I'm going to say this again in a video soon, if the Court of Appeal, this is going to go to the Court of Appeal, I have no doubt. And as I mentioned, most cases, 72% are overturned. Now, obviously, most cases are not as big as this, but equally, very, very few cases, I would say 0 in British history, have had this level of pressure. But if they will know, and the Court of Appeal will know, we need to make it clearer and clearer to them so they definitely know, but I think they know now anyway. If they try to sit there and say, we're not allowing you medical evidence in court, we're not allowing you medical experts in court, you could have said this a few years ago and make a load of legal arguments, they're going to get absolutely castigated. And I will be obviously in the queue, but I will not be at the front of the queue in terms of size, because the mainstream media are going to give them an absolute hammering. And that Court of Appeal verdict will be scrutinised enormously. I think you know that I'm going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb on this channel. It's going to be in the mainstream media. It's going to be in the Sun newspaper. It's going to be in the Telegraph. It's going to be in the Guardian. It's going to be in every newspaper. It's going to be on obviously the TV broadcast media won't cover it in the same depth, but there will be article after article after. If Lucy Letby loses her appeal, can you imagine like Sarah Napton, Felicity Lawrence, David Conn, Glenn Owen, all the journalists at the Sun newspaper, Peter Hitchens, Philip Hammond, all these other people, they're just going to be on them, and they're going to look at everything they said, and the faith in the court system could disintegrate completely. That is what is at stake here. It really is that serious, and that's why I always think of it from the societal point of view, not from the Lucy Letby point of view always, although I do obviously naturally think of it from her perspective to a certain extent. And I want to be clear, I don't want public faith in the criminal justice system to completely collapse. That's not a good thing. It's justified, but it's not a good thing. So I hope they do the right thing, and I hope they do the right thing for the benefit of the country as a whole. That was pretty articulate considering I just said that off the top of my head. But yeah, I just think I can't overemphasize the importance of this issue. Let's move on to another question. Why has no one noticed when Lucy was first arrested? Her mum is very upset. She's also telling her to go back in. Yeah, I mean, that was very moving. We should never have seen that, because that should never have been broadcast. But Lucy showed so much strength there. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. For her to be thinking of her mother ahead of herself when she was facing something utterly terrifying was incredible. Now there are no pending appeals, do you think the CCRC will be able to crack on with Lucy's appeal? Love the book. Thank you, Patricia. I don't know, sorry. Who knows what the CCRC are doing? Whenever I'm asked these questions, I can't give a definitive answer, so I just don't know. All I can say is they have no excuse for not dealing with this case rapidly. They must deal with this case rapidly. It must go to the court, and then once they've dealt with it, it must be expedited to the Court of Appeal. It's as simple as that. Hi, just reeling from yesterday's deep dive, which was really, yeah, it was kind of, I know what you were going to say, even though it kind of trailed off, but I know. So that's how I saw this message a while ago. This is really nice to read. Chris, my 6-year-old, watches with me, and she asked me, did Chris post a new video today? That's so cute. I love that. She doesn't really understand everything, thankfully, but I appreciate the no swearing. Yeah, so I made that a rule for myself, because I thought people might watch this with their teenagers. I didn't anticipate you watching with a 6-year-old, I'll be honest. But it is 6-year-old friendly. It is child friendly, I think. And I won't swear. And not a proper swear word. I know I say some minor ones occasionally. But I won't do proper swearing ever. That's a fact. I've been on jury 20 years ago, and they did play actual interview recordings, so I don't know why they had to reenact anything. Well, they didn't. They didn't have to reenact anything. They just did. Under 18 here, I think your content is great for teenagers as well as adults. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for being here, Layla, and thank you for taking an interest. And when I say most under 18s don't watch this, I don't mean that dismissively. It's just a demographic fact. But I really appreciate you being here, and I really appreciate the support. If you can get other people interested, then that would be absolutely great. Informative regarding Thirlwell inquiry, is there rules on what they publish or don't publish? They just seem to make up as they go along. I mean, they published some new stuff the other day, and I was looking at those documents. I was like, well, I've seen that before, I've seen that before, I've seen that before. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't think they know at this point. I imagine there's some pretty kind of frantic discussion going on behind the scenes at this point, but it's, you know, I don't know what else to say about it. They're between a rock and a hard place, and they must just be desperately hoping that this gets dealt with quickly. So I explained about the podcast a bit earlier. It was just the news agenda pushed me back to this week, but it should be coming this week. I don't know if it's bigger than the Daily Telegraph. I don't know if I said that. I didn't mean to, but it's pretty big. It's a pretty big one to do anyway, so I'm happy with that. If you get assumption it'd be next level, we'll see. We'll see. I can't promise anything, of course. Elaborate what you know about medical research. So all I can say is, yeah, I know about the ones that you know about, and that's basically all I know. But yeah, I know they were doing the feeding and milk stuff and all that. I'm not an expert on this, but a friend of mine who is a nurse has spoken to me about it. I don't know, but I probably know less than you. But I don't know any more than you. But yeah, I know they were doing the feeding tests. And I must be honest, Jenny, I don't really fully understand the significance of it. Someone would have to sit down and explain it to me. But I know that some people are concerned about it for sure. In your video today, you mentioned Colin Campbell being given poor representation. Isn't he with Mark McDonnell? No, he's not. Ben Geen is, but Colin wasn't. My MP is refusing to look at the case, citing division of powers, and he's even refusing to give me information as to who I can approach about this obvious miscarriage of justice. Well, you know, email me, John. Let me, hold on, I can't type. One day I'll learn how to type. It is a bit awkward here because I haven't got my keyboard in front of me. Right, so I put my email in the chat. Just email me and send me the letters and I'll tell you what to do next. Do you like Gran Turismo? To be honest, right, I'm pretty crap at driving games, but I like playing the Formula 1 games sometimes. I haven't played it for ages, but I do like the Formula 1 games. So I've been playing them back since I was a kid. Played Formula 1 Grand Prix by Jeff Crammond. And Gran Turismo, I think, is the best of the driving games. And I think the older ones, we used to buy the cars, was really, really cool. I played a couple on the Xbox as well, when I had an Xbox. But I think Gran Turismo is the best. So yeah, I do like it, but I'm not very good at it, I must be honest. I'm good at football games, but I'm not very good at driving games, sadly. Myers Cross Evans aside, do you think he was resorted to legalese too often? I think that... So firstly, I'll tell you, I'm going to release a new video of Myers speaking about Evans on Tuesday. And it's pretty interesting. He does speak very much like a barrister. Now, that can be more for the benefit of the judge than the jury, but I do think it's a fair criticism. I mean, I was speaking to someone today who knows more than me, and he was pretty critical of Myers. Now, I try to be fair and balanced in everything I do, and I don't want to bash the barrister because it doesn't help us. At the end of the day, it's water under the bridge. There's nothing we can do about it, so there's no point sitting here crying about it. It's done. I don't know why he did what he did, and he made mistakes in my view, and if I feel I have to be honest about those mistakes, then I am. But I don't want to sit here castigating him and tearing him to shreds when he may be very upset about the outcome, for all we know. Whether, yeah, you say it was a reaction to an overbearing judge. That's possible. That's possible. But Ben Mize is a very experienced barrister, and he needs to understand. He must understand. And I think he does a good job at times, but he needs to understand. The jury needs to be able to understand what I'm saying to you. Johnson made it very simple, as you rightly say. That, in my estimation, seems to be a mistake. I wonder if Lucy was told of Dr. A's death last month or found out today. She may not know yet, but I think she would probably rather not know. So I don't know for sure, but it would be better if she didn't know, I would imagine. I raised the case in a WhatsApp group I'm in with a link to your channel with a prominent left-wing MP, and he said he's talking to David Davis about it. I'm hoping he will speak out for Lucy soon. Again, Heidi, my address is lucy_letby_analysis@mail.com. If you could email Neil about it, that'd be really helpful. Of course, if he's talking to David Davis, that's great, and I may not be able to help or do anything, but I'd be interested to know about it. What do you think about Amanda Knox doing an Edinburgh Fringe show? I think I have to qualify everything I say about Amanda by saying the following: I don't know anything about her case. So I accept the court's verdict that she has been exonerated and is deemed not guilty. I know some people don't agree with that, but I don't know anything about it. I have no reason to disbelieve the court at this point in time. In terms of what doing, assuming for the sake of argument she's wrongly convicted, assuming for the sake of argument she's been in prison, and assuming for the sake of argument she's been through this media storm while completely innocent, and assuming the fact she still gets criticised and all the other things she's been through, I think the least she's entitled to do is to do what she wants with her life. And if she wants to do an Edinburgh Fringe show, I'm sure it's tasteful, and I know she's been criticised by the family, and of course they're entitled to say whatever they want. But I'm not going to criticise her or anyone else who's wrongly convicted for doing whatever they want. Andrew Markinson seems to be travelling all over the world. I'd love to have Andrew Markinson on this channel. Maybe that'll happen one day. I don't have a really good way of contacting him. Maybe at some point I can, when I've got more time, I can explore that possibility. But he should do whatever he wants. He had 17 years taken out of his life. Amanda had a lot less, but she went through an incredibly traumatic experience. And I know other people that have been wrongfully convicted and wrongly convicted, and they should do what the hell they want, or whatever they're able to do. Simple as that. So I'm absolutely not going to criticise her for doing that. If she wants to do an Edinburgh Fringe show, good luck to her. I agree with good enough. I always say don't be perfect. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Exactly. I mean, I am a bit of a perfectionist, but it's in things where I think I can get closer to that standard. I don't think my YouTube editing is ever going to get into the ballpark of perfect, so I don't set myself high standards for that. So someone's asking about Oliver Rackham. So let me bring up his precise position. So he gave a witness statement to the thermal inquiry. He was a neonatal consultant, a neonatal transport specialist who worked with the Council Chester Hospital neonatal unit. I don't think he was stationed at the Council Chester though. Apparently he co-founded NeoMate, a community support group helping families with babies in neonatal intensive care. Sounds like a thoroughly decent guy. I don't know he's not a, do I even mention him once in my book? I can't remember if I did. It's difficult to mention everything, and because he's not a primary figure, I don't know if I did. But yeah, he's there in the thermal inquiry. And his speciality was paediatrics, and he works the transport team. I think he was a consultant at Arrow Park, if I remember rightly. Could be wrong about that quite easily. But yeah, that's all I can tell you about Olivia Rackham. But he gave evidence to Thirlwell. I have a newfound appreciation for nurses in the NICU. My nephew was born a few days ago at 32 weeks. His nurses were amazing, and I'm sure Lucy was nothing less. Justice for Lucy. Thank you for sharing that, Anita. I hope everything's okay. Let's put that on the screen. I'm really glad that everything worked out. I mean, the outlook is pretty good for 32 weekers if they don't have other underlying conditions, as far as I understand it. But it's always good to hear that things worked out well. How do you think that? I better just look at questions now because I'm half an hour behind, so I've got to start catching up now. Oh yeah, I think you're right, Jenny. I think Rackham did say something positive about Lucy with child P. I'll have to look that up. That's something else I need to look up. I found some new stuff. I'm always finding new stuff. I've got loads of new stuff for this for when we do an updated edition, whenever that will be. How do you think this decision will be released by the CCRC to the public? I'm hoping the decision will be soon after summer recess, and that this is what Thirlwell is waiting for. Good question. Well, I don't. Like now when a football club, a Premier League club, makes a major signing, they do like an announcement video. I don't think it'll be like that. I think that would be deemed a bit tasteless. I think they'll probably just do a very normal press release and a very normal statement, but I couldn't say for sure. All I can say is that it will be a momentous and important day. Let's go a bit further down. I had a shock when reading the book, seeing the name Stavros Stivaros. Doesn't look like he contributed much. He was a supervisor of mine when I was a medical student about 12 years ago. And what do you do now, Meg? Yeah, Stivaros did basically nothing. He literally provided a statement and just said, I defer to the other people. So, I mean, to say he was in the court case is, he really wasn't. Neither was Kenny. I mean, there's basically three. Sally Kinsey's not in it very much either. Let's go a bit further down. Look for questions. See the comments and just skip to the next. Why are they here and attention seeking? I'm happy to answer legitimate questions usually, but I'm not. I've answered a question about the handover sheets. I'm not going to answer stupid questions about blood being around the mouth and Lucy standing around doing nothing. I mean, for the love of God, if you don't know the answers to that yourself, then I'm not. I can only say it so many times. I mean, the questions about handover sheets have actually dried up. That's the first time I've answered that question for a while, and I say the same thing every time. So you know, if you can't find stuff out for yourself at this point, then you know. But I don't mind. I don't mind answering them to a certain extent, but I'm just not in the mood this evening. I'm not in the mood of explaining the same shit all over again. Hi, Chris and Keek. Sorry for the late arrival. How are you? No problem, Sarah. I'm really well. Yeah, I've enjoyed the last few weeks. I've been getting up really early and taking Keeks out early, and I'm going for a long walk tomorrow. I'm going to a place called Edale. I don't know if any of you've been to Edale, but it's a very spectacular part of Derbyshire, and I'll try and do some filming, and maybe you'll see it one day. But if you've not seen Edale before, you should definitely look it up because it's very striking and quite breathtaking, I would say. So I'm looking forward to it. But otherwise, I'm fine. I've recovered my energy a little bit now. Let's go a bit further down. Did you play for the Crystal Palace Youth Academy during your tea break while doing the audio with a broken leg? No, I didn't. Yeah, this guy's never going to live this down, is he? He's saying, oh yeah, I don't accept that what I've said is untrue, and this isn't the end of me in the public eye. Yes, it is. It is the end of you in the public eye. Stony mentions playing Lucy Willis on the podcast. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I actually forgot that. I forgot that. That's something I've actually forgotten. Thank you for pointing that out. Just finished watching box 3. I agree, it was superb. Let's go a bit further down. As an IQ nurse, I've given quite a lot of TPN. It's done differently in different hospitals. Some you add vitamins and trace elements to the bag. In others, it comes pre-made from pharmacy. That's interesting. I'm really honoured to have so many nurses watching, even watching the live streams. It's just, it's really humbling. I really appreciate it, and I hope I do a good job of representing you. I do the best that I can. I mean, you've forgotten more about nursing than I know, but I have definitely learned a fair bit over the years of doing this, and I'm sure I'll learn a lot more in the future. Lucy knows it was trial by media, so I think, guys, that was the most impressive thing for me about Guy's video. He got that across very well, and that's really, really something that must be avoided in the future. And I hope we can learn the lessons from that. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Sean. Let me put Sean's comment on the screen. The jury saw someone distraught and broken by guilt. Police and prosecution couldn't allow film confidence and lucidness appear in front of them. I think it is just simply, it wouldn't have come across the right way, the way they wanted to. So, it's up to them to explain, but I can't understand why it's allowed. I can't understand what the hell's happening in this court case. They just allow anything. Oh, turn up whenever you want. Oh, High Marsh can't make it. Never mind. We'll just structure the whole court case so that it's all right for him. Oh, we'll throw this out the court case. We'll throw that out the court case. Judge Goss even wouldn't provide his notes to the jury. Why? Are they that important? Are you that embarrassed of them? Let's go a bit further down. There's so much Letby news, but Moritz and Liz are very quiet. It makes no sense. Oh, it makes perfect sense. Believe me. Hi to Ola. Hi, glad to catch you live. Just want to say thanks for all the work you have been doing on the case. Thank you for being here, Ola. I hope you can make more live streams in the future. It's going to be Sunday at 8 PM every week, hopefully, although I can't guarantee that sometimes it won't be Saturday 8 PM. But I'm aiming for it to be Sunday 8 PM every week. We'll see how it goes. The country is the pits now, but look at what happened to Amanda Knox. She was 20. Yeah. So even tougher for her, and had to conduct police interviews in Italian. I mean, sure, why wasn't she allowed to have an English interpreter, or why what? That just seems ludicrous in a European country. Utterly ludicrous. Can the Princess of Wales help with expediting this? Theoretically, yes, but very unlikely. Very unlikely to happen. Unfortunately. They could give a pardon theoretically, but in practice that's just not going to happen. So I don't know. I don't know how that could happen. Hi to Frank. Thanks for being here. Chris doesn't look very well, does he? He's got that 6 months left face. Well, that's what I look like. So I don't think I look any better or worse than usual. I wonder. Oh, I don't know. That's a question. Let's go a bit further down. I wonder if anyone. I wonder what your question was. I wonder if anyone from the CCRC has read or ordered your book. Good question. I don't think that would be seen as the kind of impartial thing that they're supposed to be. Similarly, I never sent them a copy. I felt that would be a bit provocative, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone had sent one. But I don't know for sure. I don't quite get what they do. Yeah, don't worry. I don't. Yeah, okay, you're gone now. Yeah, I don't mind someone saying that, but I will say yet again, I'm not affiliated with Molten PR. I've said multiple times, I have got a PR company. It's not Molten PR. It's a PR company that specialises in books. I don't know how many times I've said that, but it is absolutely untrue that I'm affiliated with Molten PR. I'm not affiliated with Molten PR. Molten PR are not working with me or for me. They never have been, and they never will be. I don't know how many times I need to say that. I won't say any more on that, but you know, and not only that, but the information about which PR company I am with is available online. Let's just move on from that. Chris, you look great. Ignore that person. Well, you know, I think I look all right for nearly 50. I'm pretty comfortable in my own skin. So if people say I look bad, it's not a problem. I was more worried when all you lot were saying you look knackered. But yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with being on camera and seeing myself and hearing myself now. You just get used to it after a while. I mean, I've done so much. I didn't even see. Well, it was funny when I was doing the Daily Telegraph. I never even thought about the camera once because I've spent enough time on camera. I just didn't even. I was just completely concentrated on Tim and Camilla, and just answering the questions as well as I could and listen to what they were saying. Oh, by the way, did anyone? Well, let me mention a couple of things. Someone said to me my podcast was one of the most most viewed ones for ages. So I went and looked at the figures, and actually over the last about 3 months, there's only been like 2 that have been very slightly higher views out of all the podcasts they've recorded, which is, I don't know, I think they do 2 a day, so it's maybe 180. And the 2 podcasts that were higher, and I'll talk about the second one in a second. The first one was something to do with Prince Harry. You know, Prince Harry's perhaps slightly better known than me. And the other one was where they interviewed this eco warrior and he stormed off. Has anyone seen that one? Because they actually released that on the day I was interviewed. And I watched it and I thought, you know what, I did better than that guy. I'm pretty certain about that. And I actually thought he must have felt like such an idiot because all you see is him storming off. So you don't realise he's got to walk past the producers, hand back his credentials, hand back his... He didn't have a microphone, I don't think, but I had stuff they'd given me. They escorted me out of the office, so I presume he didn't do that. I presume he walked out himself. You've got to go down the corridor, past loads of rooms. Then you go... The whole newsroom is there in front of you. So as you walk out, you see hundreds of people. It's a massive newsroom. So you walk past all of that. Then you've got to turn right. You go down another corridor. There's loads of people again. Then you've got to go to the reception. You've got to hand in your credentials there and sign out. They're going to say to you, "Oh, how did you get on?" Then you've got to go out downstairs. Then you've got to do more signing up. And I just thought, this poor guy, he must have felt like such an idiot when he was walking out. But you know, we all make mistakes. Can the CCRC access pages withdrawn from documents used in Thirlwell? I don't know the answer to that, Catherine. I think it's more than a little alarming that they've withdrawn documents, don't you? They're all on Jabe's site, but the fact they've withdrawn them is odd, to say the least. As to whether the CCRC can access them, I'm sure they're in the defence. It's more than a little regrettable. Let's go a little bit further down. Hi Paula, thanks for joining. How many miscarriages are there where the punishment is less than prison? Great question. Great question. Enormous numbers. Remember as well, if you just go down for something for a few years, you've basically got no chance of winning an appeal unless something extraordinary happens, because it will take them longer than your sentence to even hear the appeal. So it's only really high level cases where you're ever going to go to the Court of Appeal. Hi Chris. Hi Prostetnik Vogon. Is that a Star Trek thing? Or is it something... Oh no, that's from Hitchhiker's Guide. I didn't know Vogon's in Hitchhiker's Guide. That was a bit dumb. Aren't they? Yeah, of course they are. They're the main thing in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Hi Chris, I've just finished the audiobook. I have the book too. It's a phenomenal piece of work that's clearly taken a huge amount of effort. Many congratulations. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I was wondering, given the many threads all playing out over a very extended period, Have you thought about producing a graphical illustration of the timeline? It would clearly have to be at headline level. I know each individual incident is dated in your book, but having an overall timeline in one place would definitely help to explain the entire picture. Thank you for the question, Paul. Thank you for the comments. The answer to the question is yes, we do have a timeline, but we haven't had time to update it and put it on the website. We may do that in the future. If I get a little bit more time at some point, I might do that. But as you can probably tell, I'm quite busy. I do have a lot of a timeline already there, and we'd like to put the whole thing up there on the website at some point, and that may happen in the foreseeable future. We couldn't put it in the book because it'd take up too much space. Same reason we didn't put references in the end. Well, that's part of the reason anyway. So yeah, there may be a timeline at some point. I'm not doing a very good job of catching up. I'm still 20 minutes behind. Let's go a bit further down for questions. Yeah, I'm aware Jonathan Sumption will be careful, but you know, I'm quite an experienced interviewer by now, so I think it'd be fine if but he may not want to come on a podcast. Do the Council of Chester and any new perps need investigating for other stuff beside the false accusations, etc.? Possibly. Very hard for me to answer that question without full knowledge of what has happened, but they will face scrutiny, rest assured. Do you know of anyone on YouTube or any social media doing what you were doing, presenting calm, rational arguments, but from a guilty perspective? No, because no one calm and rational could do that. There just isn't anything. It's always, you notice when people are making guilty arguments, it's always emotion, it's always uninformed, or it's always rabid, or a combination of the three. Because it's not possible to make calm, rational arguments from a guilty perspective. That's why no one's doing it. Let alone on YouTube, you'd run out of material in about a week. You know, the reason I can do so much is because there is so much pointing to this being a wrongful conviction. And there's nothing all they could do is sit there repeating the court case. And that's already been done by the gentleman from, forgotten the name of his channel now, but you know what I'm talking about. And he stopped doing it because he realises that's a very bad thing to do at this point. So no one will ever do it. There is no one credible. No one credible has come forward to support the prosecution case. That will never happen because for two reasons. Firstly, the prosecution case is untenable. And secondly, if you're a medical person, you're not going to support the prosecution case because it's like a medical kamikaze mission. You're just destroying yourself and destroying your credibility. You have to agree with all manner of absolutely ridiculous things. You're just not going to do that. You know, can you imagine anyone else? Can you imagine just a random doctor now saying, oh, I think Bohin's 30-minute screaming claim is really credible? Or Bohin's claim that, oh, I think the 1/3, Charlie lost 1/3 of his blood, but I think that's nothing to do with why the infant collapsed. Or any number of ridiculous things said by Evans, or like the sticky insulin. Can you imagine anyone, or that, just anything? There's almost, or like, oh, I think the child K looks like a really sound conviction, and I think Dr. J. Ram's evidence was really convincing, and I don't think it's at all concerning that, you know, he's got about 5 different accounts of what he said, and now he's been caught in a new police leak. You know, I mean, basically, I felt confident enough this time to say, okay, now there is strong evidence of perjury. Now there is previously I always said David Davis has made calls that this is investigated. Now I can say it should be investigated. Absolutely, it should be investigated. Who's going to come out and support that? Who's going to come out and say, oh yeah, I think what they said was correct? And that's leaving aside the fact they've not got the medical notes, so that would make it even more stupid. So no one with any credibility will ever say anything or be able to do anything like that, ever. It will just never happen. The only people who ever support the guilty perspective are people with a vested interest of getting paid for it. It's as simple as that. Let's go a bit further down. So subreddit page is full of people. Yeah, I know people post stuff on that page. Listen, they're massively invested in their position. That's absolutely fine. You know, unfortunately, they're wrong, and they're intellectually incorrect, they're scientifically incorrect, they're medically incorrect, they're evidentially incorrect, they're just incorrect on every level. They're perfectly entitled to hold that view. If they think that they're spending their time in a worthwhile or profitable fashion, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, they're completely wasting their lives, but that's entirely up to them. Let's go a bit further down. Your analysis of the prosecution and defence closing statements is very revealing. Please follow up by having another look at the summing up by the judge, taking those into account. So we've still got absolutely loads. I've started doing the summing up of the judge earlier. Some time. I hate that stupid feature. Some time ago now. And I'm 10. I think 15% into the Johnson's closing statement. I've done a bit of Myers, so I'll do more of that in the future. It's just literally, there's so much happens, there's so much comes up, I just keep doing new stuff. But I've easily got enough content. I could do years and years and years of videos. Like, I've not even got started yet. And this is before, that's even if nothing else happened, but then new stuff will happen. It's absolutely crazy. Let's go a bit further down. Yeah, so I didn't know a lot of people had signed a petition against Amanda Knox. People hold a lot of different views on a lot of different things, and they're perfectly entitled to hold that view. All I can say is, given what she's been through, given the fact she's been acquitted, I'm not going to tell her what to do with her life. Obviously, if she does something completely indefensible, then I'll criticise that. But doing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe is not completely indefensible, and she needs a lot of guts to do it, because whatever she does, she's criticised for it. So whatever you think about her, she's definitely courageous, because it'd be very easy for her to just go away and disappear. Yeah, so there's no investigation into perjury in JRAM yet. There should be. I've got a copy of your book from my MP. I've emailed to ask if you'll accept and read it. I'll let you know when I get a response. Marie, thank you, Marie. Please do send me an email. Is it possible to charge JRAM with perjury while Lucy's not free? It's certainly harder, I would say, Pete. I couldn't answer that question authoritatively, but I would say that there's no reason that they couldn't, for sure. Whether they would, whether Cheshire Police are going to do that, is another matter entirely. Hi, Chris and everyone. I'm enjoying your book. Has it been sent to Lucy? Lucy has received a copy, yes. I mean, I ensured that's occurred. I mean, I have said to people, please don't send her more copies, because she doesn't want to be bombarded with copies of the book. So please don't do that. Thank you. Let's go a bit further down. Chris, I really loved the video you did on the CCRC. It was so clear, so informative. Reading your book again, yes, it deserves a reread. Brilliant. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate that. I'm very, very grateful for your comments. Love Edale, brilliant walk. Great pubs to get back to. A train station, no mobile phone signal. That's good. Can't wait to get up there. We're going to have a pub meal probably, so should be good. Who's the broken leg person? So Anna, you won't know this, but there's a gentleman in this country, I've forgotten his name now, you don't really need to know that. And basically, he is an academic, and he was quite a well-known academic, and he put himself about a lot, and he got a lot of publicity, and he tried to get publicity, he actively courted it, and he made a lot of incredible claims. And basically, it's all fallen apart for him for two reasons. The first thing is he's plagiarised loads of one of his studies or something, and secondly, his claims are not looking very likely. So he's basically told a load of lies and done the worst thing you can do as an academic. And it's okay to borrow from a study, but you have to credit the study, of course. You can't just pass someone else's work off as your own. And of course, I had to be careful with my book when I did that, so it was very carefully checked for plagiarism. And because I brought together so many sources, so I tried to be extremely careful about crediting every single one, and also trying to use different phrasing for every single time that I was referencing something that had been written elsewhere, or if I didn't use different phrasing. Like one of the chapters talks about Rachel Aviv and her locomotive dragging the insulin cases, dragging the other cases along. So obviously, as I acknowledge that, that's not plagiarism. But yeah, he did something pretty bad, and he deserves everything that happens to him. Going through a media storm must be awful, and that is, I hope his mental health is okay. He doesn't deserve to suffer for it. But he must understand that he's brought this on himself. Yeah. So Heidi, I hope I've answered your question as well. Just arrived. Your book and the box documentary are devastating. Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate that. And thank you for the comment, Jenny. I'm appreciated by nurses. I mean, I appreciate what you do. Obviously, I'd like to think I was appreciative of nurses before I started doing this, but it's so much more now. Now I understand, and now I've got some knowledge, and now I've got to know nurses, and now I've got to know, what you do and the level and how underappreciated you are. So, yeah, feeling is mutual. Let's go a bit further down. I didn't know about Fiona, no, Carl, I didn't. I really meant to send her a message. Yeah, I'll have a word with you about it later. I didn't know that. I don't know what. I don't listen to them. I just block them and ignore them so they can say whatever they want. But yeah, that's a shame because she doesn't deserve that. But they're all mental. I mean, they're all deranged. I mean, they do literally need psychological help, literally. Yeah. So this guy's called Jason Arday, the broken leg guy who I just mentioned. Hi to Dotshas Gra. Don't know how to pronounce that, but thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so this is a very interesting question. I can't answer this question. It's directed towards Jenny, talking about overfeeding. I think it probably was a coincidence because Dr. Evans came to that conclusion of his own volition, I believe. So yeah, I think it probably was a coincidence, but I couldn't say so confidently. Let's go a bit further down. Yeah, I think for me, so I think for me it's a shame that it's not possible to have a civil conversation about this subject because I with some people have a different view. I can remember ages ago. I hardly ever used Twitter, but I encountered someone this is years ago. This was way before I was on YouTube. It may even been before I started writing a book. I can't remember exactly when it was. And someone was being really, I don't know, I posted something that were being really aggressive towards me. I can't remember if it's someone who's still involved or not. And I didn't realise what it was going to be like and what people are like at that time. I knew what people are like on Twitter and I know what people can be like. But I just said to them, look, you're perfectly entitled to your opinion. Here's the factual reality of what I'm saying. And then I just said to them, why is there any need for us to have a conflict? Why can't we coexist? People that believe that Lucy's not guilty and people that believe she's guilty can coexist. Why does there have to be this type of confrontational attitude? And that was, I think, posted in one of Sarah Napton's, one of the comment sections to her articles, that Sarah gave it a like at the time. And, I didn't realise what people were like. Obviously, I've given up on that hope that we can live in harmony. But I just don't understand why people are so invested in a certain position. I mean, I'm not emotionally invested in my position. It would be, I guess it'd be kind of a blow to me professionally if there was a real red flag smoking gun that came out tomorrow, because I've written a book in which there are no smoking guns pointing to guilt. Obviously, that's not going to happen. It's completely impossible. but I wouldn't be emotionally disturbed by it. I'd just think, wow, we got that wrong. But it's just not going to happen because we've all been forensically investigating this case for 2.5 years, and there is absolutely nothing, obviously. And then all the stuff used in the trial has completely fallen apart and been annihilated. So I just find it strange that people can't coexist and people can't be civil to each other. And I when I say I'm happy for someone to come on the channel who believes Lucy's guilty, I meant it. I'm perfectly happy for them to come on, but I've not had emails from people that are willing to do it or able to do it, because they can't. They never argue in good faith. And they never argue even courteously. So I find it very strange that you'd be so invested. Like, the woman's in prison, like, you've won. Like, what are you even fighting about? And what difference does it make to your life if she comes out of prison? Your life is still exactly the same. All you've done is wasted years of your life. Now, that could be said to me, but the difference is that you're a campaigner for a cause. Wanting to keep someone in prison is not a cause. It's something you don't need to be involved in. Or you can actually just sit there now and do something else with your life, because you want her to be in prison. Well, she is. She is in prison. So you don't need to do anything. It doesn't even make any sense. But, you know, what can you do? What can you do? Let's go a bit further down. Yes, I've answered the question about Lucy in the book, so I hope people have heard the answer to that. Chris, do you know if Dr. Martin Pittman has read your book? It'd be great to have his view on it, his honest opinion of knowing he was so great in the industry. So I'm sure I'll speak to Martin. I'm as you're probably aware, I'm in touch with him, so I've not asked him. I don't like to go fishing for compliments, you know, and I haven't asked. I won't specifically ask people. I probably won't specifically ask people about my book, because I just don't think it's something I would ask. It seems a bit, oh, have you read my book? What do you think of it? I don't think I would do that, but I would be very surprised if Martin hasn't read it. We do like talk fairly irregularly, but with some regularity, and I don't know, but I'd be surprised if he hasn't read it, but I don't know for sure. Is there anything we can do if the CCR says no, the conviction is safe? Well, that would be a real surprise. I don't know what would happen then, but a lot of things would happen. You know, everyone that's involved in it would get their heads together. Who you know, we'll cross that. All I would say really, Quincy, is we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Do you think Mark Madonna is the best barrister for Lucy? So your follow-up question is about representing Lucy in the Court of Appeal. So as far as I understand it, Mark won't, because it'll be a senior KC, as far as I understand it. In terms of whether he's the best barrister for Lucy now, it's not really my place to comment. All I know is he's very sincere in what he's doing. Ben Myers is not still in the background, no. Let's go a bit. Yeah, crime scenes courtroom. I completely forgot what it was called. Hi Chris, 19 Nurses popped up on YouTube, and then I came across you, and here I am. I'm reading your book and will leave a review. Thank you for all the work you're doing. Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate the support. It is very much appreciated, and I'm glad that you found the channel. Yeah, maybe lots of people did what I did at first and just not watch because it's so distressing. I definitely think time helps, Ola. I think it was so emotional. There was so much critical media coverage of Lucy. I think it was necessary for a little bit of time to pass by, for the emotion to drain out of this a little bit. I'm glad you're here now, though. But yeah, it's certainly, and I very purposefully made my book not emotional. There's a bit of at the start, there's a bit at the end, but I tried to steer away from that because I also felt Judith and Jonathan's book was emotive, and I don't wish to make emotive arguments. I just wish to present the evidence and let you make your own mind up about it. Knowing what you know about neonatal care in the NHS, would you be comfortable if you had a partner was giving birth in an NHS hospital currently? Good question. That's a really good question. That's a very difficult question to answer. I think it obviously depends on the calibre of the hospital. I think going private would be preferable. I will say the NHS often gives good care and people try their hardest, and we shouldn't assume that because there are some hospitals that have failed that they're all failing. They do lots of great things, and most people that give birth, it's perfectly safe and they do a great job. So we shouldn't lose sight of that. But it's clear there are major issues with maternity care, so that would be a concern. I think I'd be lying to say otherwise. Is that a fair answer? Oh yeah, so tell us about your job. I'll at some point, because your ears pricked up with the stats. So that's a good way in for a lot of people, of course. Chris, please do a video on the chairman that bought the Times for Duncan Nichols, who was involved in Beverly Allen. I did not know that. So another note I've got to do for myself. Hold on. Right, I made a note of that. If Lucy's convictions are quashed, will Lucy get compensation? Not automatically. Usually she wouldn't, because you have to be proved innocent, and it's impossible to prove Lucy innocent because there's no crime. Usually you have to have DNA evidence. In this case, there'd be a lot of pressure to compensate her. But Lucy won't have to worry about money, don't worry. We'll make sure she's okay. Do you think we know all the key arguments being put to the CCRC, or is Mark holding back some? I think not all of them are public, but I don't know for sure. But I think not all of them are public. So I think there are question marks about the evidence Anna Milan gave in court. There's only so much I can say on camera, but I can't say that. But I think it's absolutely true that some of the evidence the court heard from experts was highly regrettable. Let's just say that. Let's go a little bit further down. So there's a lot of talk about Amanda Knox, which I know nothing about. So I can't contribute to any of that because I don't know anything about it at all. Yeah, Twitter. I never ever liked it as a platform. It just encourages. It rewards bad behaviour. It rewards abuse. It rewards nonsense. It rewards lying. It rewards inaccurate information. It's just crap. But I had to join, and I don't mind giving £8 a month. But I'm glad I've seen how it can be used usefully as well. But I don't like it as a platform. In fact, I strongly dislike it as a platform. People link their own opinions to their own identity. That's the error. I know, you're absolutely right. You couldn't be more correct. It's very strange, isn't it, that people invest so much in something like that, or anything really. Obviously I'm not that surprised because I've seen it happen in other areas, but it's just strange. I mean, I'm glad I learned at a certain age. I'm not sure how old I was, but at a certain age I learned if you're having a discussion or a debate with someone, don't get really emotionally involved, because you start posting rubbish and you start getting aggressive and that's just not cool. Even if you're winning, it's arguably worse if you're winning, because you start getting arrogant about it. I don't want to be like that. I don't. So I long since decided that internet debates are not worth participating in, so I don't get involved in any of them. I just put my thing out and people can say whatever they want. But I would, in the past, have had someone. And I still have if a medical professional wants to come on and defend the prosecution case, I'll have that. But I'm not having anyone, just a random person coming on, because I gave them months and months and months to come on. I didn't get a single email, and there's no chance they're piggybacking off me now. But I just find it very, very strange, this, as you say, identifying opinion being part of your identity is odd. Because your opinion shouldn't be concretized or cemented. Your opinion should be malleable and open to change and open to new evidence. Otherwise, you could believe almost anything, and then just carry it. So you believe something that's provably wrong, but you just carry on believing it anyway because you've decided that you want to invest in that opinion. How stupid. What are your thoughts about the fact that no trace has been found of the email that Dr. Brewery says he sent to Ian Harvey asking for a meeting, which he claims didn't take place until 3 months later? It's strange, Dennis, is what I would say. I don't know all the details of that, obviously, because I've not seen the email. Some very strange things happened at that hospital. That's all I can really say. Yeah, so someone's talking about Dewi Evans here, saying people only support Lucy because she's attractive. So he also told Tribe by Stats that he hasn't got a girlfriend and he should stop fancying Lucy Letby in a uniform, and that was on the front page of the Daily Mail. I asked him about that when he was trying to, even though I was perfectly courteous to him, he was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I haven't said anything, firstly, I haven't said anything discourteous to you. And secondly, you've already been on the front page of the Mail on Sunday. So, for saying this. So, do you regret that by any chance? You never answered that. Let's go a bit further down. I'm nearly caught up now. Yes, I didn't know about the Sir Duncan Nichols, so I'll have to have a look at this. I did not know that. My daughter is pregnant with her first baby. Even though I work in the NHS, we offered to pay for her to go private. Yeah, one can understand that. We all want Lucy out of prison, but I fear for her safety in prison as all this public support builds up. What do you think, Chris? Is Lucy safe? Yes, I think she is. I did discuss this the other week. We had some confirmation that Lucy is definitely safe, so that was really good. I forget. Oh, was it? I can't remember who that came from, but yeah, she's. It would be a calamity for the prison system and the state if she was harmed in prison. So she'll be under very, very close scrutiny, and she'll be under very deep protection. Also, women's prison is not the same as men's prison, and when they realise that you're innocent in women's prison of these awful accusations, that they'll treat you differently. And I think Lucy is safe, absolutely, from what I've heard. So I don't think we need to worry about that too much. Yeah, X is useful for finding stuff out. It's just the atmosphere and the way people behave is awful. I'll try and ask you, Jenny, about Duncan Nichols. I'm sure I will. I've been meaning to email you for ages. I just haven't got around to it, but I'll try to soon. Let's go a bit further down. Yeah, I think I'm nearly at the end now. I think I've caught up. So there's a bit of talk about Duncan Nichols. So yeah, I don't know if I've covered everything. Is there anything in the news I haven't covered? Oh, whoops, pressed the wrong thing. So let's have a look at the latest news. Yeah, I think I've covered everything that I can discuss. So yeah, I'll just tell you that I've got a podcast coming out next week. There'll be another live stream at the weekend, hopefully on Sunday. I think it'll definitely be on Sunday next week. I've started to arrange more interviews, and I'll have a new interview coming next week that I know you're going to really enjoy. I've got a lot more interviews lined up, and I'm arranging them with people now. So there'll be some new interviewees coming. And yeah, I appreciate you all being here. This has been, I think, the most well-attended live stream, which is probably because I have made it clearer now when they are. So I'm going to try and schedule one for next week, and I'll try and do that ahead of time, just so that I can get used to doing it now that I know how to do it, and that way in future everyone will be ready for it. So yeah, thanks for everyone for being here. Let me remind you, this will go out as a recording, but it will take a few minutes for me to correct a few things that I have to do online. Maybe next week I'll be able to post it more quickly, because maybe I'll be able to do that ahead of time if I schedule the recording, but we'll see. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Keeks, are you going to come up? No, Keeks is not going to come up, I'm afraid. Keeks is very happy. She's in a big bowl. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here, and I'll see you all. I'll see you hopefully as many as I can next week. Look out for videos this week and keep the faith. Bye now.